My name is Cameron Kennedy. 16, and I like to play the piano. I like to um, I like to read. I like to write. I wanted to work with marine animals, but I felt more called to work with the writing and more going for like biblical studies and stuff like that, learning more about the Bible, like Jesus. Yeah, I was diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos when I was 8, and at the time, a lot of people just thought it was me being, stretchy and over complicated, but just as it developed, there was a lot more issues. So my body slowly got more painful as I did stuff. So I would go skating or something with other people, and the next day they'd be perfectly fine. But for me, it just wrecked my body. And so I always wondered why, and we finally figured it out, but there was not a lot of research done on it, so it's one of those kind of, you have to work with it. So it basically is the collagen, which holds all your joints together, just doesn't exist for me as much, and it also affects other stuff. There's when you have Ehlers-Danlos, there's other conditions that come along with it because of. So a lot of times those other conditions, like POTS, so to speak, which has to do with heart rate and blood flow, comes along with it. So but it's mostly just lack of collagen. So my shoulder dislocates in about 3 different ways. So what they're gonna do is basically tighten it all up and fix, I believe there's some tendon or something there's damage to. They're going to basically tighten it all back up in place, and just by God's will it holds. Yeah, so it's kind of like this soft tissue, so to speak. So all of the padding in your joints holding everything together. So like sinew basically. So it keeps all of my joints from going out, and since it's not there and it's not as strong, it just wants to slip. The surgeon put it this way: most people, it's like building the difference of building a house on cork and brick. Whenever they try and tie the tendons and make it strong, it's like cork. It just wants to just like shred. So they have to be specific to make sure it holds. So it's a lot weaker. So, well, I've known him for about as long as I've lived, and Bible school. We used to do Rock Solid Kids before we joined the Bible chapel, and that's where I learned most of my stuff. And then one day it kind of clicked for me that, like, I don't know I want a future with Jesus. So we sat down with the pastor at the time, and we really just talked, and I invited him into my heart, and I've seen him move ever since. Times where it's almost impossible to get through, but if you just gotta keep going, because there's always going to be a bright side, and even if you don't end up surviving through it, you're going to a place where it's peace. So no matter what, you're safe and sound through it. And I've seen him move just stuff that you wouldn't even expect. A doctor come along and find something, or finding a doctor in Colorado. It's just all the crazy things that people would call luck and chance, but I just call it God. I always liked Psalms 23, because it always means that God's there for you, and He'll always lead you where you want to go, and you might not always see that path right away, but in the end you'll make it there. I want to thank everybody who's been so abundantly generous with all of the donations and t-shirts and the GoFundMe, all of it. It means more than we could ever express. We heard Colorado, and we were kind of like a little bit taken aback, like how the heck are we gonna get out there? But then God just opened door after door after door. A lot of times, people who have stuff like this, it's considered a disability or the lack of being able to do something. But I feel like it opens up more doors than it closes, because you can reach people and relate to people who are going through hard times because you've been there. So you can be there to support and help. And that's why I feel like I'm enabled, because God can use me in the state that I am. If he can use that, then he can use you. My name is Cameron, and Jesus has transformed my life.